Last year, AP and I visited the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, considered by many to be Christianity's holiest site because it contains what is believed to be the place of Jesus' crucifixion as well as the empty tomb. We were a little annoyed because most of the building was closed for renovations. We did get to go inside the empty tomb, but they told me I had to shut off my camera. Turns out, though, that while they've been doing the renovations, they've also been letting archaeologists dig around a bit. And the archaeologists are finding some interesting things that help shed a little light on a Bible mystery. During the time of Jesus, the area where the Church of the Holy Sepulchre now stands was outside the wall of the old city of Jerusalem. The place was an ancient rock quarry. It was where workers would hew rocks for building whatever they were building. Eventually, the rock quarry was shut down, and people started using the area to dig tombs. No mystery so far. But the Gospel of John says that Jesus' tomb was in a garden, and a garden doesn't sound at all like a rock quarry. So, what's going on? The Times of Israel reports, some 2,000 years ago, olive trees and grapevines likely grew on the land where the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem stands today, new archaeological excavations at the site have revealed. The findings mirror a description of the area included in the Gospel of John. Now, in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre, wherein was never man yet laid. There laid they Jesus, reads John 19:19-20. Let's read the context in a modern translation. Later, Joseph of Arimathea asked Pilate for the body of Jesus. Now Joseph was a disciple of Jesus, but secretly because he feared the Jewish leaders. With Pilate's permission, he came and took the body away. He was accompanied by Nicodemus, the man who earlier had visited Jesus at night. Nicodemus brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds. Taking Jesus' body, the two of them wrapped it, with the spices, in strips of linen. This was in accordance with Jewish burial customs. At the place where Jesus was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb, in which no one had ever been laid. Because it was the Jewish day of preparation, and since the tomb was nearby, they laid Jesus there. So, there was a garden, according to the Gospel of John, and nearly 2,000 years later, the claim gets confirmed by archaeology. The presence of olive trees and grapevines was identified through archaeobotanical and pollen analysis on samples retrieved from the excavations under the floor of the ancient basilica. From the archaeological context and strata, it belongs to the pre-Christian era. However, radiocarbon testing has not yet been carried out. We know that the area was already part of the city at the time of Emperor Hadrian when the Romans built Aelia Capitolina, said Professor Francesca Romana Stasola of the Sapienza University of Rome, referring to the Roman city erected on the ruins of Jerusalem in the first half of the 2nd century CE. However, at the time of Jesus, the area was not part of the city yet. Again, the tomb was outside the wall of Jerusalem during the time of Jesus. The Jews expanded the wall to prepare for the First Jewish-Roman War. The Romans won the war and leveled the place. According to Christian tradition, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre stands on the spot where Jesus was crucified, known as Calvary or Golgotha, and on its nearby tomb, which today is surmounted by an edicule built in 1810. Stasola has been directing the current excavations since they commenced in 2022. According to Stasola, the hidden layers beneath the church's floor, similar to the pages of a book, have offered an extraordinary chronicle of the history of Jerusalem, starting with the Iron Age, 1200 to 586 BCE. The church stands on a quarry, which does not surprise us because a vast part of the old city of Jerusalem stands on a quarry, said Stasola. The quarry was already active in the Iron Age. During the excavation, we found pottery, lamps, and other everyday objects dating back to that period. As the quarry ceased to be exploited, and before the church was built, part of the area was used for agriculture. people started growing grapes and olives. Low stone walls were erected, and the space between them was filled with dirt, said Stasola. The archaeobotanical findings have been especially interesting for us in light of what is mentioned in the Gospel of John, whose information is considered written or collected by someone familiar with Jerusalem at the time. The Gospel mentions a green area between the cavalry and the tomb, and we identified these cultivated fields. So, there was an ancient rock quarry. The rock quarry was eventually abandoned. At some point, people hauled dirt to the area to grow some crops. At the time of Jesus, the former quarry was also used as a burial site, with several tombs hewn in the rock, as in other Jerusalem areas. We need to imagine that as the quarry was progressively abandoned, tombs were carved at different levels, Stasola said. The area, therefore, featured several burials from that period. Constantine selected the one that had been venerated as the tomb where Jesus was buried, and he excavated around it in the area that corresponds to the current rotunda, isolating it from the other burials. Several other tombs are known as part of the Holy Sepulchre compound, including one that Christian tradition attributes to Joseph of Arimathea, who is said to have gifted Jesus his empty burial plot. Fascinating stuff, and I say that because when I was there the first time, several years ago, our tour guide told us that the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was built on an ancient rock quarry. And rock quarry sounds like the opposite of a garden, so how was it a garden? Well, now I know, and now you know. The Bible got it right. Now, if you'd like to learn more about the land of the Bible, but in a really fun way, be sure to sign up for an Artsa box. Artsa comes up with a new theme every few months. They gather products around that theme from small businesses and charities in places like Jerusalem and Nazareth and Bethlehem, and then they send everything to you in a box. Every box comes with a booklet that connects you to the land of the Bible. You'll learn about history, geography, and important archaeological sites, and you'll even learn some Hebrew along the way. But you'll also get spices, snacks, crafts, decorations, soaps, jewelry, all kinds of things, straight from Israel and produced by local artisans and farmers who share their products with the world through Artsa. Artsa boxes are not expensive, they're fun to open with your family, and they make awesome gifts. If you'd like to start getting your Artsa boxes, the link is in the description. Be sure to use the promo code DIZZLE to get a discount and to let them know who sent you.